How do you go about getting those?
Kicks and beats. I use Reason heavily because it just does what I want it to do, like quickly, and it's how I learned to do all my drum programming on these step sequencers, like the 808 and 909, that kind of, you know, you just hit a button and you've got a light running across. That's how I do my programming. The best way for me to kind of show you is to just kind of, let me just get rid of these. And start something fresh here so I can show you some drum programming. Okay, so this is my own default setup to start with as well, just before I sort of show you some drum programming, because it applies to all my stuff. I work the same way, same with the Madonna thing. This setup here is actually running my sidechain in Reason, because the compressor, this M-class compressor, has the sidechain input. This one's already kind of set up, but when you use one, you've got the sidechain. You can't quite see it under there, but yeah, you've got the sidechain inputs there. So that's waiting for a signal from, most commonly in dance music, a kick drum to give you that kind of sort of pumping feel, if you like. You know, it gives it the track a bit of energy. Also gives the kick drum a lot of room, which is kind of what's needed in dance music. So I've got a kick drum which is constantly running on this re-drum here. So as soon as I hit play, you can't hear it, but it's running here. And that doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go into my mix at all. You can't hear it. What it does do though is go into all these Spider audio splitters. Logic users at this point will say, why isn't there just a little box to just drag down and go kick drum for your sidechain? Well, in Reason it doesn't work like that, but if you've got this ready to go, it's as simple as doing that. So this is the initial setup thing anyway. This is what it says. So all these outputs now, this is the same kick drum. All of these outputs here I can run to my compressors in Reason to give me a sidechain. So that's my default setup. So I'll always be using a re-drum for everything, and I do all the programming on the actual unit itself rather than doing MIDI or drawing them in on the sequencer. I do everything on here first. So let's find these Vengeance samples. I think everyone's kind of got their hands on now, but there's some really good kick drums and stuff. It's easy to get carried away collecting sample libraries and stuff. Like I've done it, I think everyone's done it, and I've got a folder full of 10,000 kick drums, but you're going to make, or you should be making, every kick drum sound different. The tuning, any compression on it, anything, you know, your EQ, everything for each individual piece of music should be slightly different, or will end up being slightly different. So I think it's good to have just a few that you use regularly rather than a collection of 10,000. You know, I don't think it's so that's quite sort of nice analog sounding. So just simply use the old style sequencing. Let's just bring the tempo up a bit. Like you get on the old drum machines to program everything in. So I'll just stick some drums together to get rocking. I've got this thing at the moment about, I've been using some hip hop type drums in my production because it's just a little bit different, and you know, there's so many kind of drum sounds that have kind of been done, percussive sounds, not kicks as I just explained. It's like cymbals and claps. You know, there was a time everyone just went for a 909 or an 808 type sound. Fine, you know, that's kind of like, that was the kind of like the sound, but you know, I think you've got to experiment and use different things, you know. So hi-hats, it's obviously quite straight at the moment, 4/4, but I can use the shuffle. And I've got here's you can set up different grooves for different elements of your track, but just you've got this basic global shuffle, which gives you that swing. So we'll just have a little bit of that on there. And then what I do, some people might think, well, it's got a load of other banks there of sounds ready to go, but my kind of skeleton of you know, the drum programming I like to kind of keep very simple. So kicks, hats and claps, the main groove, that sounds that will stay together in my track, I like to just keep on one machine. So on here I can add some more percussive sounds. So let's just find something to go in there. Okay, put the shuffle on again. Just kind of mess about with where the sound's hitting to get the groove going, you know. And while that's still playing, I can search through for new sounds. It's quite important as well not to clutter it too much and to get sounds that sort of work together. And the good thing about these as well, it's really quick and easy to change your drum sound. So this sounds kind of, it's cool for now, but I can change the length here in Reason very easily to make that. So I might just kind of leave that for now and then go on to another aspect I won't do obviously, and then I will come back, and if I want to add something else that's kind of percussive, I'll come back to this redrum that's got that percussive sound on. So the good thing with this is I go back to redrum on the sequencer, and wherever my left and right locators are, so between 9 here and 17, so that's 8 bars, I can just hold down Control and copy pattern to track, and it will just put down my drum pattern, and I'll do the same with the other one. And then you can start to arrange. Obviously normally I would do a lot more than this before doing this. So, and then it's quite important in Reason to turn these enable pattern section off, which actually stops these sequencers working as well, because you're going to get the pattern continuing when it's not meant to be on the sequencer. So that's how I would start doing my drum programming, obviously adding a little bit more sometimes as well. Another thing I've sort of been doing as well is using the Dr. X player. Well, I've always used this, but it's good for reprogramming breakbeats or drum loops that you've already kind of got. So I'm already got a folder. I don't know, I'm just going to pick this for now, otherwise we'll be forever. But if you find a loop that you like the sound of, but you don't like the pattern, it's fairly easy. And there are other plugins that do this obviously, but I find it really quick and easy to do it here in Reason and keep all my drums kind of together. So again, I might just like that offbeat, so I can just use, there we go. Actually, that hi-hat's a little bit better, so that's number 6. Not a huge impact, but anyway, you get the idea. And then again, just copy these, and you've got this the Reason sequencer. There's sort of a few newer features that are a bit kind of friendlier with people that have always used Logic and Cubase, that kind of thing, you know, they're sort of a bit easier. There used to be a few little things on there that I think a lot of people found frustrating. To be honest, I've been with Reason since day one, so I've kind of gone with it and used it how it's always been, you know, so I haven't had a huge problem with it. But the join features and the mute now, similar to how you would get in Logic, that's all pretty cool. So basic drum pattern, and then just to jump back to the sidechain, just to demonstrate that quickly in Reason. What do we want? Let's get I'll just get a bass sound or something. A string sound would be good. Oh yeah, apart from I've got a MIDI problem at the moment. So I'm just going to draw these in. Normally I'll play them in. I'm just going to draw in a pad so I can show you the sidechain in Reason. Because that's a question I've had quite a bit. People sort of on MySpace and Facebook and things. And you know, I'm always called to, when I've got time to answer questions, and some of them have been about, you know, sidechaining and compression, that kind of thing. And to be honest, it's each to their own. You can go real overboard with things sometimes, and you know, and easily try and copy what other people are doing. But I think you've got to find your own comfortable way of kind of doing things, you know, with all of it. So just a nice little pad sound there. I'll just take the release off of it as well. The subtractor is mono, so what I always do to make it stereo, whether I want to use the effect or not, is put on the advanced reverb, which turns it into a stereo, a left and right automatically. So I might not want that big reverb on it, that's fine, I'll just leave it on dry, but it's just when I add other effects and stuff, it will make it stereo if I want it automatically, because we've already got this now. So I can go now and add my M-class compressor. So if I spin that round again, there's the sidechain on the back, and scroll up. Now if I hold the mouse button down on one of the outputs from the kick, M compressor 2, sidechain left. You just go sidechain left, it'll put stereo 1 in for you already. So you can already hear it slightly. Just by adjusting the threshold and ratio, you can get as much. Take some off, whatever. It's actually quite kind of simple. You could go into it a lot more in depth using the attack and release with it, but sidechain is more of an effect as opposed to an overall thing like limiting and all that kind of thing. So I think it's quite simple to just kind of do it this way, really. So I'll drop that back in. So there you go, that's how I do my drum programming and why I have my default setup like this, ready to sidechain. And I can just keep going. This is the thing, it's like the same with plugins. If you can add as many and use as many as your computer is going to handle. Reason's the same, you know. That was always the thing years ago with hardware. If you had one drum machine, you had one drum machine. If you had one keyboard, then that's what you've got. With Reason and with plugins, obviously you can have as many running as your computer can handle. So I can just keep going here, and once I run out of outputs, if I do, it has happened before with loads of stuff side chaining, you just add some more splitters and that's it. Also, one other thing I should mention, this kick actually runs a side chain in Cubase for me. I keep doing it again. Can't go back to Cubase. I need to get Cubase rocking again. No, Cubase is fine, but you know, Logic's where I'm at and what I do. It's just I've been going back to the old school today. Anyway, so these will give you outputs out of Reason. So there isn't just the left and right. Let's see, this left and right 1 and 2 is coming from my main mix into Logic. And we've got all these channels here, and I basically just used the last 2 channels personally, 63 and 64 on here. And again, that comes from one of the audio splitters to give me my signal. So that kick actually comes into Logic. So you can see it here, look, but you can't hear it. Okay, so I can now go to a compressor in Logic and just go to that little drop down window. I'll show you what I mean. I won't put anything in there. So compressor, and then up the top here, sidechain, and I've got it set up on a bus, so I go bus 64, and you can see that's my kick from Reason. So it's the same signal that's driving the sidechain for everything. So there you go. That's why my default looks like that.